Okay guys, what's happening? We're going to run through just our weekly analysis. We're going to really be focusing on the dollar index and Bitcoin here to sort of give us an idea where everything else is going to be moving. I'll start by running through the dollar index with you. What I'm seeing here, this is sort of the first time that we're showing a little bit of bearish momentum on the dollar index, but I don't want to get carried away because we are still in a nice bullish run. So we have had this, we've got this big level here, this sort of trend line that was holding up. We're finally coming, we've broken down through, sweeping a little bit of this liquidity from underneath, which is a good sign for the markets. I have this zone marked up at 110, which if we get the break below this is where I can see us actually moving bearish on the dollar, but I don't believe we're going to get anywhere near the break on this. I've got our Fibonacci golden pocket marked up here, so swing low to swing high. We've got this golden pocket marked up, so we're finding support at it at the moment. I'd like to see a little rally up and try to find a little bit more deeper pullback. A little bit more deeper pullback before we move in and ultimately take these highs here. So that's what we're currently looking at. I'm going to be monitoring the dollar index all week to just see where we're going to find support here, because when that does start running, it will show signs of a bearish nature towards Bitcoin, and then obviously alts to follow. So we will monitor this zone, this golden pocket. But for me, I've been monitoring the Dixie for a while. If we take this back on the weekly here, you can see the room we've still got to play with. We've still got from the current range, we've still got another 7.5% to get up to the highs of 2000. When was this? Beginning of 2002. So I can see us still moving up there. These lower time frame sweeps on liquidity aren't a bad thing, but ultimately we're still not showing signs of full bearish nature. We're still maintaining our continual market structure here. Our high, low, high, low, high, low. Failed to make the higher high, but until we break this low here, we can still maintain a bullish nature. If we do break this low here, we can have a look at maybe a support to resistance flip, and then the dollar might turn down. But I still think we're in this bearish nature of the rest of our markets for a while, and the dollar's going to continue to kick. So if we take the dollar into consideration with everything we're looking at here, let's have a quick squeeze over at Bitcoin. I've got Bitcoin marked up for the higher time frames. The other thing that we have to be aware of, not this week, but coming up to our CPI data on the 10th of November. Previous CPI data, which was what was it? It was roughly around. Oh no, sorry, it was back here on 12 hour. Yeah, it was roughly around September the 13th. We sort of watched the market rally up here, rally up. CPI data news comes out, and bang, the market absolutely collapsed. So we have a hell of a lot of liquidity sitting up in this imbalance zone, which I'll run through with you in a second. But it wouldn't surprise me if we see this market come up and sweep this liquidity, this gap in here, fill this imbalance before the CPI data, and then the CPI data will ultimately probably take this market back down. So it's just good to note that we do have future data coming out that we need to be aware of, and we can sort of manage to see what the market's going to do from there. The other thing I want to go through, I want to run through these liquidity levels with you. So if we jump down onto the 15-minute time frame and turn on our liquidity level indicator, I just want to show you this. So as you can see here, if we pull up our COT report, which is our commitment of traders report for the CME, the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, if you look at the asset managers' institutional money, they're all long. They're sitting long. You can see it here in this little graph down the bottom. Asset managers and institutional money is long in this market. 83% of their positions are long. Whereas you look at the leverage money, so the retail traders and the people trading on futures and the exchanges and things like that, a 77% short position. So if we keep that in mind with our market, you can actually see it on these liquidity levels. So if we mark up, you can see all this liquidity pulled up here. The sort of the big pool of it is sitting around here. And then you've got this lower side of liquidity, which is sitting around here. So if we mark that up, jump back onto, say, the 4-hour time frame, get rid of those levels. So you can see where that liquidity is sitting. That liquidity is ultimately sitting directly above these highs. And then the lower liquidity is sitting after this run, it's just sitting here. So what I'm going to be monitoring is I do want to see a ultimate sweep on this on this higher liquidity, and a run on these equal highs, a run on this trend line liquidity. But we can get this pullback in to sweep this liquidity first. So we need to be we just need to be monitoring what's going on here. But if you take if we just look at this range that we're in, just mark this range up, sort of run from the highs down to these lows here. If you look at this range, we've had these big sweeps to the bottom before the big push to the top, sweeps to the bottom, big wicks to the top, come back through, big wicks to the top, wicks to the top, smashed all the liquidity down to the bottom, and now we're just floating in the middle here. We had this another big manipulation to the bottom here. But what I want to see is, I want to see price move into this range here and take some of, obviously take that liquidity we just talked about up the top here and just fill all this liquidity void up in here, whether it be a large wick or whatever it may be. But when you look at it like that, we have this massive amount of gap in the market all through here that I want to see price throw some wicks into. So I'm going to be trading with that bias and taking that directional bias. High time frame, we do have this point of interest up here. We have the large imbalance to fill. We do have to clear this range though. We do have to clear this range. It's going to take something special to really push this and clear this range on the daily time frame. But yeah, we do have that CPI data, so we will be monitoring that as well. Let's jump down low time frame, see where we're sitting on Bitcoin at the moment. So we can be monitoring Bitcoin for buys at the moment. We've had this large break of structure all through here. Let's mark this up while we're here. We've had this large break of structure. The only thing I'm a little concerned about is this build up of liquidity. We did have the sweep here, which is a good sign that the market could continue up. But like I did say, like I said to you a second ago, there is still a lot of liquidity that is just sitting here. So once this pulled through, there's a lot of retail traders just chuck all their stop losses under here. So there is still a lot of liquidity that just got built up under here, which will be the last sweep. We won't get, I don't believe we'll get a lower than this manipulated wick. So if you want to mark up a zone, I'd be looking at something through here as a nice point of interest. So that'll give us a sweep on this liquidity again, and then potentially take us back in the bullish direction. So we will monitor that as we go. Let's have a look at Ethereum. I've got a similar setup marked up for Ethereum here, guys. We have a lot of trendline liquidity. I believe the objective's been complete to the bottom here. We've swept this liquidity majorly. We've come back up. We've had another sweep on liquidity. Like we can see with our report, leverage money is short. So there will be a whole lot of stop losses up here. CPI data is coming in at this time here. So I do like to see a push, fill this imbalance. So I will be running with the market in a bullish bias for the moment, purely because we've had this break of structure, but we are still moving into the high of the range. So I want to clear this high of the range, and it'd be a nice confluent entry through here. So we will monitor this POI we've got marked up, try to get this retracement. We've had the break of structure. Jump down and have a look at it, Zoomed in a lot there. So had this this break of structure of the high here, the manipulated low, and this was our zone here. This is our last point of interest that did break this structure here. So we're going to look for a retracement back down into this zone. We have a lot of liquidity that are just sitting under this little low here. Liquidity built up there. I can see the market continuing to move. Yeah, I can see the market sort of consolidating here, build up more liquidity through here, through this range, and then get this sweep before ultimately making a higher high, either into this resistance or hopefully push through it. We'll monitor it at the time, but I do want to look for a long position up into this zone. So we will be monitoring that. The other thing I just want to show you on ETH. Where were we on the daily? 12-hour. Got a little confluence we can take, which is we're jumping into retail patterns here, which we do not trade, but we can see where retail is sitting. Sort of have this, not that, head and shoulders. I have this large head and shoulders forming as well, just around here. So we have this head and shoulders forming, which if we follow this trend line through here, pull it from the bottom, it's going to go through there. If we pull that through, it also runs as a confluence as well. It's a retest of the neckline of this head and shoulders. So everything's pointing us in the direction of the market moving, taking a bullish bias here and moving to the upside. So as I said, we will be monitoring for the buy positions. All our buy positions do get put into the Discord under our trade signals. So along with all our Bitcoin and Ethereum analysis and our dollar index analysis, as well as all of our altcoin setups. As you can see here, we've got everything marked up. This is this is Solana, sorry, we'll go through. But we have all these things, we have all this marked up. It goes into the Discord, so you can mark these up on your charts as well. And we do notify you when we're opening positions inside the trade signals. So yeah, just so when you're looking at the charts we're going through, they all are there in the Discord. Jump onto Solana. So like I said, I can see a little bit of bullish bias coming into the market here. We do have so much liquidity to the upside. So let's just run through some confluence for Solana. So I want to see a push up. We have this last swing low, this low, high, swing low. So ultimately we have to run with the bias that this is our high set in. We're not going to make a higher high because we've made that lower low. So with that being said, we've got zones marked up with our fib levels taking into consideration. So we're pulling our fib. I'll mark this up again. We're pulling our fib from our swing high to our swing low. And we want to come up and we want to find this golden pocket zone. In between the 618 and the 786 is our golden pocket. So we don't trade any points of interest that are below that. So we have the first one here, which is a nice confluence point of interest when we go into to our time frame. Look at that on the 2-hour time frame. We have that nice last buy before the sell that broke through this structure here. Never got mitigated. Still have this slight imbalance in the market that's here. So we have that slight imbalance in the market. We're getting these inducement build-ups, these liquidity highs. So I do want to get a few more pushes to the top and see if we can move into one of these zones. And these are, when you look at these charts, these are higher time frame markups. So what I will be doing is, and what I do on the live streams when we go live, is I jump down onto the 15-minute and the 5-minute charts, and we actually look for positions that we can get into, sort of day trading positions that we can look to get into to run the market during the day up into these positions. Because if we do, it can take a long time for us to hit these positions, and then it can even take upwards of 2 days to even get the confluence to actually enter into the position from that point of interest, if we do get that confluence. So we are still very active in the market. This, for example, as you can see, we've had this break of structure. We have the large imbalance to the bottom here. So what we will be looking at and what we'll be monitoring is this point of interest here. It meets our rules. It meets our rules. It has imbalance to fill. It's broken structure. It was the last sell to buy with that rapid, violent move. So we know when price gets down to here, the sellers are exhausted, and we can look for opportunities to get in on low time frame confirmations to then run this up into our higher time frame points of interest. So we're still trading inside the market on a lower time frame, but we want to know prior to getting into the market at all, we want to know what our higher time frame bias is and where our points of interest are, because I don't want to get up into this point of interest and we get a perfect long setup on a low time frame where I'm longing into a resistance zone. So it's important to mark these zones up prior so we know where we are in the market. Let's have a look at a couple more here. Uni. Yeah, so we're still running in this bullish trend channel with Uni. Same thing. I want to see. We've had this nice low. This imbalance got filled by about 50% of this imbalance got filled, which meets our criteria before the market can move. We just have to monitor this here because we have had this. Change your character sections here in the market, and we got the other one down here on those swing points. So we could potentially find some resistance at this point of interest here to then take a little bit of a scalping short. But like I said, I'm a little bit bullish in the market at the moment just because of what the dollar and Bitcoin's doing. So we need to keep an eye on that as well. But yeah, same thing. If we jump down into lower time frames, once again, we can see these imbalances in the market still. So we could still be looking for trades in here. Imbalance. This last sort of point of interest zone, which we mark up a lot clearer on the Discord, so it's absolutely spot on. But yeah, that's what we're running with at the moment on Uni. We've had the break of structure. We've moved into the imbalance zone. We have this point of interest up here, the higher time frame point of interest, and we can look to get a retracement to run this next leg up into that. Try to get this retracement, get that next leg up. So we will monitor Uni as well. We do chuck all our alarms on, so they are set. Atom, we're stuck between two zones, exactly the same situation. We found our point of interest to the top here. The last buy before the rapid sell that broke structure. So we always know that as soon as we come to points in the market like this, especially when it's in this ranging market, when we come to points in the market like this, let's try to find what candle it was. The 2-hour candle. As you can see here, we've had this 2-hour candle, and then the market broke down and broke this structure here, broke this all these lows through here, broke it, came back up, broke it again. So that's why we get these. So we mark that one up as a point of interest as well. We find that resistance there before ultimately making a higher low, and then market moves back up, and we find that resistance again. So this is where we're getting our small retracements back. This is how the market moves. We're going to get this small retracement back. But the nature of this little section of market is still bullish. So we have to be aware that we are in a bullish market at the moment here on this 2-hour time frame. So we will be monitoring Atom as well. Yeah, we will be monitoring Atom into that zone there. See if we can find some resistance at that retail trend line as well, which is inside this point of interest. If we don't, we get a break above. I can see us moving to target this higher time frame up here with the imbalance fill. So it's important to be marking up our higher time frame points of interest and zones. And if we are trading lower time frames, we can be trading in the confluence of that direction, but you ultimately are trading the same setups, just lower time frame. What else are we looking at here? XRP. We got this marked up in the Discord, I think, for Sol. XRP, yeah, higher time frame. Higher time frame, we're looking for this point of interest. We are still showing bearish signs. We've got the breaker structure to the downside, this big sweep. So we'll see what we can see inside this point of interest. Like I said, a lot of things are based around what Bitcoin does here. We do have this large market imbalance, which I do want to see get filled, rebalance the market, create a healthy market once again before getting that next leg down. So we do have to be very aware of what Bitcoin's doing and what the dollar index is doing over the next week. So that's about it, guys. I will be chucking everything into the Discord. So all of our Bitcoin analysis will go into the Discord. All of our altcoins is all in the Discord. Profit and losses, very transparent about what we're doing here. It's all in the Discord. Our HODL portfolio, all of our news, any announcements we have, we'll put in here as well when we're going live on YouTube to run out through our same strategy but in our scalp mode. It's all there for you guys. So yeah, if you're not on the Discord, you can jump on the website and access it through there, and you can see there's a video on the website that shows you what's involved in the Discord as well. So that's about it, guys. Let's have a good week, eh? Let's get some profits.